Well, as I always say every single time, I don't know how bored you guys hear this from me, but Mondays are usually the most boring day starting the week. But, as usual, I intend to keep your Mondays fun and exciting. So today we're going to do something different. So if you guys are big fans of the Japanese wrestling scene, you guys are always in the right channel. So today we're going to be doing, of course, Stardom American Dream. As you all know, they were here in the States in Las Vegas during WrestleMania week, and we had some amazing matches taking place, including, of course, the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Alex Windsor defends it against, of course, Saya Ida. And there's a lot of good fun matches we definitely going to enjoy. But as you all know, the road to wrestling Dontaku by New Japan Pro Wrestling has begun. So we'll be, of course, covering the first 2 days of this event tour, and it both took place, of course, in Cork and Hall. In case anybody asks, because we are only less than a month away from wrestling Dontaku, so it's going to be very interesting as we get there. But also to add the bonus, no news updates for today. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got through Nike Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So, let's begin with Stardom American Dream. Okay, Stardom American Dream. Now, as you know, Stardom comes to the United States every year, of course, during WrestleMania week, and they were in Las Vegas this time at the Player Theater, of course. This happened back on April 17th, which was a Friday, a day before the first day of WrestleMania, just to keep everybody catching up what you already know. Now, our first match, we have an interesting uh, tag team match. We have Brittany Brooks teaming up with Saki from Colors. They take on a portion of members of the Cosmic Angels. Aya Sakura and Natsupoi. As you know, this will be their first time making their appearance in the U.S., and that's exactly what happened. But of course, both Veda Scott, who was the commentator, and I forgot who else was there, were talking about the future of the Cosmic Angels, knowing too well that their existence in its stake. But however, this match was pretty good in every aspect, and I'm sure Saki, as you know, many of you already know, knows exactly what Natsupoi would do. As you all remember, they were aligned with her back in the day, a few years ago. But now it's different. But however, of course, When it comes to the Cosmic Angels, we know that they have always had a variety of wrestlers, of team members, what they use, and I think it was very effective. But in the end, it was not super with the fairy gift onto Brittany Brooks, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Next match, we have members of Mi Vida Loca, Rina Yamashita and Suzuki. They team up with, of course, with Suzuki. They take on what used to be EXV, but now they're in somewhat of a reunion. Hanako, Maika, and of course Mina Shirakawa. As you all know, Mina was going to be in this event, and it was great to see a bit of somewhat of a reunion. Now, originally this match was supposed to be Mina and Maika teaming up against Hanako and Yuri Ham, but due to the nature, Yuri Ham was unable to get her visa due to some issues. But I'm glad that they actually changed it up a bit on this one. But of course, what I did like about this match is the rivalry between both. Of course, EXV, what used to be EXV and Mi Vida Loca, continues to go overseas. And recently there's going to be a tag team hardcore match or something between Hanako and Maika to take on Rina Yamashita and Suzuki. But this is more of a preliminary match, and I think many people would have assumed that this match would have gone to Mi Vida Loca, since they've been picking up the edge. But however, in the end, it was in fact, of course, the Michinoku driver by Maika onto Suzuki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, adios. So Maika picked up the win for the team. Now, our next match, well, this was a very interesting one. Rina takes on Athena. Now, Athena acts like she thinks she's royalty, and she wanted, of course, Rina to kiss her hand, but apparently she spit in her face. And of course, Athena should know that Rina doesn't kiss people's hands. She doesn't bow down to anybody, but to her, if she knows, Rina will always see her as a shitty old hag. That's exactly what she always will be to her. But I have to say, Athena might have underestimated Rina, because we all know she may be 19 years old, but she has, of course, some great experience. I mean, her accolades speaks for itself. Not to mention, she broke her sister's her record for the most consecutive wins in the Future of Stardom Championship, and that says it for herself. And many people thought that she was going to win the Cinderella tournament twice, but she failed on both ends. But of course, Athena tried to bring out the aggressiveness, but unfortunately, Rina was unsuccessful, ended up in a submission, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, we did had a little surprise visit from President Taro Okada, greeting the fans and all that, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Tekla showed up and attacked the president of Stardom. It's like, oh, here we go again. However, Tekla is upset, saying that she got fired for nothing. I mean, she did broke the rules. She was doing things that she shouldn't have done, but she even warned Taro Okada, if you step in my territory one last time, I'm bringing the girls back to Japan with me, and we're going to teach you a lesson. And I'm sure she's referring to her and the rest of the Triangle of Madness to bring all sorts of hell. Now, our next match is the New Japan Strong Women's title. Alex Windsor defends it against Saya Ida. Now, of course, Saya Ida, we can say, don't let the size fool you. She may be, 5 foot or something like that, but she's strong. She's not afraid to back down no matter how tall or big her opponents are. She's always up for the challenge no matter what, even if it is Alex Windsor. But, however, Alex Windsor trying to prove herself who she really is, not using, of course, many of you know that her status as Will Ospreay's fiance, but as someone who can show exactly who she is, that she is the kind of person who likes to fight, win matches, and of course championships, and that's exactly what she do. And then she was able to apply the Made in Japan to Saya Ida, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our main event, we have Chris Statlander teaming up with the Babes of Wrath, Willow Nightingale, and Harley Cameron. They take on Neo Genesis, Mei Sita, Azumi, and Starlight Kid. And I have to say, it was a really impressive match. Now, keep in mind, what no one knows about this, Neo Genesis, the current members who are in this match, Azumi, Mei Sita, and Starlight Kid, these three ladies have high-speed capability. Remember, each of them have won the high-speed title. And that sets it all right there, and it's always been a good combination. But you look at Chris Statlander, uh, Harley Cameron and Willow, they do have a bit of the powerhouse stature. So that kind of sets it up. But however, in the end, it was Azumi with the Azumi Sushi onto Harley Cameron, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. So I have to say it was a pretty good show. I enjoyed it. Hopefully they come back again, but we'll leave things as it is. But as of right now, let's move on with our next review, and that is of course New Japan Pro Wrestling with Day 2 of Road to Wrestling Dontaku. Okay, Day 1, Road to Wrestling Dontaku. Okay, so this is their latest tour they're going to, and this will happen next month in case anybody asks, on May 4th. However, they began their tour in Cork and Hall. This happened, of course, this past yesterday, Sunday, of course, April 19th. Now, we opened up with Tyson Nakahara teaming up with Roski Taguchi and Yo to take on Masatoru Yosuda, Taichi, and Yuya Uemura. And I have to say, it was a pretty good fun match, but not to mention, you have to deal with the shenanigans of Taguchi. I mean, him showing his bare butt, getting himself caught in the groin with the ropes and all that, running back and forth, getting tired due to his old age. So you can tell that, but of course, you can tell that Uemura and Taichi are not here to play games. They're here to win matches, and that's exactly what they did. But it was in fact Uemura who was able to apply a submission onto Nakahara, which is something I never seen. I mean, normally we never would see him do submissions, but it was pretty good. So it ended just like that, by submission. Next up, we have the House of Losers, consistent of Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Sho, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owens. They take on, of course, Huntai. We have GBH, Togi Makabe, Tomoaki Hamna, and then, of course, we have Master Wato and Shota Umino. Now, obviously, as you know, Shota Umino was attacked um, by Chase Owens, and I'm sure he wants a little payback because Chase Owens is aiming for the New Japan Strong World Television title. So that kind of sets it up. But in the end, of course, we did see Miski Wisp being played by Kanemaru onto Hamna, and then, of course, Chase Owens applied the C trigger, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Chase Owens picked up the win on Honda, and just like that, it was over. Now, next match, we have, of course, the United Empire, consisting of Jacob Austin Young, the Great Okan, and Hinare, taking on Tatsuya Matsumoto and Bishamon, consistent of Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. Now, keep in mind, this match is part of a preliminary. If you guys know this, both Bishamon, consistent of Goto, and Yoshihashi will be competing in a number one contendership against the members of United Empire, more specifically Great Okan and Hinare. So you can tell who's going to pick up the momentum. I mean, we know how bad both sides want these championships, and that's exactly what it is. We expected a whole lot, but of course, we know that Hinare and Great Okan will bring a whole lot of hurt into, of course, Bishamon to show them that they're not getting this opportunity. But in the end, it was in fact another one bite the dust by Jacob Austin onto Matsumoto, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have Toru Yano and Aaron Wolf, and Bolton Oleg taking on the House of Losers, consisting of Dick Togo, Don Foley, and Ren Narita. Now, obviously, when it comes to these jerk monkeys, we know how these idiots operate. They like to attack their opponents before it gets going. Now, of course, the Never Openweight Championship is now in play once again. As you know, Ren Narita demanded that they put the Never Openweight six-man tag team titles on the line. They tried, but they failed, and now this belt is on the line. But of course, Yano got away with it with certain moments. Of course, we did see a roll up by Dick onto Yano onto Dick Togo, and just like that, Dick Togo ended up taking the fall. 1, 2, 3. Yano and the rest of his team picked up the win. Now, We have the Unbound Company consisting of Daiki Nagai, Geto, Yoda Tsuji, and Shingo Takagi taking on the United Empire consisting of Zane J, who is no longer playing the young boy theme, um, Francesco Kera, Jake Lee, and Cal Newman. Now, this is another preliminary match. We know that Cal Newman will be defending the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Shingo, so you can tell that this is part of that whole plot that's going to be taking place very soon. Um, um, but of course, we know how the this rivalry between both sides is. But in the end, it was the Gene Blaster onto Zane J by Yoda and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Unbound Company picked up the win. But however, during the post match, Andrade El Idolo just made an announcement that is now the opponent for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship that Yoda currently holds. So it seems that he will have an opponent on this one. Now, our next match, we have TMDK, consistent of Harley Jackson and Kosta Fujita. They take on the Unbound Company, consistent of Robbie X, and Oscar. And I thought it was a very interesting combination to have. But I didn't expect a whole lot. But it was, of course, the Nightmare Choke. That could have been effective, but not onto Jackson. But in the end, Oscar applied a choke bomb onto him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Oscar picked up the win. Now, our main event, we have TMDK, Raya Oiwa, and Robbie Eagles taking on more of the Unbound Company, Yoda Ice, and Taiji Shimori. So obviously, there's a lot of things happening here. But it was a pretty good match, not gonna lie. But in the end, we did see Oiwa pinned Ishimori, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. I thought it was a good event. I enjoyed it. We'll see what happens in day 2. So let's move on to that. Okay, final review. Day 2 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestling Dontaku. And yes, we are still in Corkin Hall. This is their latest show that happened, of course, over in Japan on a Monday. Now, we had a pre-show match. We have, of course, what people called it a tune-up match for Jacob Austin Young. He takes on Taisi Nakahara. For many reasons, people are asking. You probably ask, why is it a tune-up match? Well, many of you may know now that Jacob Austin Young will be participating in the annual round robin tournament, the Best of the Super Juniors. So basically, he is preparing for that, and this was going to be a fine tune-up. But Nakahara did a pretty good job. Did everything humanly possible to stay alive, but unfortunately, he ended up on the Imperial Prison, which is a submission move by Jacob Young, and just like that, he tapped out. It was over. Now, our first match, we have, of course, Tatsuya Matsumoto teaming up with 6 or 9, consistent of Ryusuke Taguchi and Master Wato. They take on, of course, Masatori Yasuda, Taichi, and Yuya Uemura. Now, nothing too special, but of course, dealing with the shenanigans of Taguchi, as always, which we've always seen with him in the end. However, but what was impressive was, we all know about Yuya Uemura's special move, which is the deadbolt suplex, where he grabs you and with your arms like this straightened out, he locks you in, and then he just suplexes you up, and it's called the deadbolt. However, Yasuda was trying to, Matsumoto tried to withstand it, like try to say, ain't gonna happen, but instead, somehow he used it as a submission. Now, it may not have been the deadbolt suplex, but it became a good submission that allowed him to win. And of course, Chris Carlson calls it the deadbolt lock. I have to say, it sounds pretty good. Now, I don't know what Yuya Uemura would think, and if he decides to keep that move, I say keep it, because it would be useful in case you can't apply the deadbolt suplex. Now, our next match is the other House of Losers, consistent of Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Sho, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owen taking on GBH, Hamna, and Makabe, along with Yo and Shota Umino. So, of course, when it comes with these losers, we know how they operate, we know how they do. They try to cheat, use whatever means necessary to win their matches. But in the end, Chase Owens picked up the win onto Hamna, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next match we have, of course, United Empire, consisting of Francisco Kira and Jake Lee, taking on the Unbound, consistent of Geto and Yoda Tsuji. So nothing too special, but I'm sure that they're using this as a way to keep them all riled up before Andrade makes his return. Uh, but in the end, it was Akira with the fireball onto Geto, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have Total Yano, Aaron Wolf, and Bolton Oleg taking on the other members of the House of Losers, Dick Toko, Don Fale, and Ren Narita. So you can tell this is a preliminary match for the Never Openweight Championship. But of course, we know that these losers will attempt to do whatever it takes necessary to pick up the win, which has obviously been recorded. But in the end, we did see Yano was able to roll up Dick Togo um, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Basically, this is the second time that Dick gets pinned by, of course, Yano, and I thought it was fantastic. Now we get a bit of a preview type. Zane J takes on Shingo Takagi. Now, of course, Zane J tried to play the smart game where he attacked him before he gets to the ring. May have been the smart move, but apparently you can't keep the dragon down. So he put him away by using, of course, Cal Newman's move, the Princess Curse, just to send a direct message. However, something similar happened the next time, Cal Newman taking on Daiki Nagai of the Unbound. And of course, much like we saw with Shingo applying the move that normally Newman applies, he used the made in Japan, so that kind of sets a direct message right at him. So we'll see how that goes. Our next match, we have TMDK, Hartley Jackson, Rohei Oiwa, Kosa Fujita, and Robbie Eagles taking on the Unbound, consistent of Oscar, Ito Ice, Robbie X, and Taiji Shimori. And I thought the match was pretty intense. I mean, we know that members of TMDK try to aim for the tag team belts, but failed. We know that Kosa Fujita and Robbie Eagles are aiming for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. But in the end, Oscar Lobe was able to pick up the win by, of course, taking on pinning what's his name, Jackson, and just like that, it was over. Next up, our main event is the United Empire, Great-O-Khan and Hinare versus Bishima, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. Now, this is, of course, a match, a number one contender. Whoever walks out of this match will be getting an opportunity for the tag team belts, and that's exactly what we expected from both sides. Like, both are in it to win it. One will lose, one will win, and that sort of thing plays out. And of course, Hinare and Great-O-Khan are determined to put whatever stop necessary to ensure that the Bishamon does not reach their goal. However, that didn't do any well for them because it was Khan who ended up on the wrong side of Shoto and got pinned by Yoshihashi. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. But we did see in the post-match, Ice and Oscar, sending their direct message about how they feel about them now and see how things are going to go for their upcoming match. So we'll see what happens. So I think that's pretty much it. And as I said earlier, no news updates for today. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have NXT. We're going to be entering with week 2 of Revenge after we came out, of course, out of Stand and Deliver. And a lot of things is going to be taking place. But however, I'm sure many wrestlers are wondering what's going to happen now after WrestleMania. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. So if there's any other reviews after this, well, we'll see. But I'm not sure because I might stick with NXT for the next episode. I'm not 100% sure just yet. So we'll see. So right now, I'll say this, and I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.